Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman, thanks for holding this hearing today, and thank you to the witnesses for taking time to testify. One of the really great things I like about this hearing is I feel like we're hearing a very balanced testimony on both sides of this issue. It's very complicated, so thank you for truly an informative gathering opportunity today for those of us that are still forming our opinions about the PBM issue and what we need to do legislatively, if anything, to fix the rising costs for drugs for Americans today. Mr. Chairman, I'd ask unanimous consent to introduce the dissenting statement of Commissioner Melissa Holyoke in the matter of the Pharmacy Benefit Manager's Report, July 9th, 2024.
Without objection.
All right. I want to play devil's advocate for a couple of you here today on some of the things you've talked about. Dr. Lasasso, if I got that correct, I want to come to you and ask you first. So Dr. Frank just a second ago mentioned about pharmacy deserts. And I'm in a very rural area, just like Ms. Hageman is. I represent Northeast Texas, 17 counties, larger than the state of New Jersey. The entire state of New Jersey, yeah, so I know, you can fact check that if you'd like to, but the point is, I've got some counties that don't even have a pharmacy at all in my counties, in my district, so there is pharmacy desert there. As a county judge before I came here, I actually saw the benefit of pharmacy benefit managers. I hired one in our county that came in and said, hey, here's what you can do in your self-insured plan to replace the higher cost drugs with more generics. We saved a lot of money for our employees. We kept the benefit to their health high in the process. But then as I visited with my independent pharmacies around the district in particular, I found that they were struggling because of really the vertical integration issue of the PBM. So I don't think that this is a widespread, all PBMs are bad situation. It's just, there's some unintended consequences here that I think are devastating to rural communities in particular. And so I want to go back to you, Mr. Lasasso, and ask, there was a proposed fix over here by Dr. Frank. He said payment adjustments for rural pharmacies. What do you think about that?
Well, it's certainly a very interesting and potentially beneficial solution to the problem that's been brought up. I would never contradict Dr. Frank, and so it will probably be gamed like all of these types of adjustments and set-asides and add-ons invariably result in. But again, if they, like you actually put it, you gave a great example there. You were in a situation where you wanted to save some money, you brought in a PBM, they were aggressive, they gave you the savings you wanted. So, you got what you wanted. However, then you realized that there were these, what you viewed as spillover effects that impacted the pharmacist, the local pharmacies. And so, right, I wonder if you could have it both ways.
Yeah, and I don't know, because I know the pendulum swings, and the reason I'm concerned about it is because in some circumstances, you mentioned about the inefficiencies of smaller pharmacies, and if they can't basically live up to a certain quantity of drugs that they're going to actually dispense, and maybe they can't be part of the PBM network. Well, that becomes problematic because now my people in East Texas don't have access to that because there's not a large enough population base in certain areas to have a CVS or a Walgreens, and so now they're not taking their drugs, they're not following up the way they should, and now they have bigger, worse outcomes, health outcomes, that we're all going to have to pay for, and we don't want to have to do that. So there is a real benefit to having the smaller independent pharmacies in all of these markets, and we're seeing them disappear. We're also seeing a lot of our consumers driven to pharmacies they don't want to necessarily have. So I would love to find a solution that works for the consumer, but still stays true to free market principles, because quite frankly, I'm always starting in that stance to say, I'm a free market guy, let the market work it out. But we have screwed this market up already. And so there's the other pushback I would have on both sides of the argument is, we are already, as a government, intruding on the free market here. And because we've screwed it up, so how do we fix it a little bit better without further intruding on the free market? Am I off base in the last 30 seconds? Am I off base in my comments here? Does anybody disagree? Dr. Van Nuys?
I don't disagree.
Okay, Dr. Frank?
Yeah, I don't think we should blame ourselves quite as much. The whole pharmaceutical supply chain is a creation not of nature, of man, of government. And patents FDA, Medicare, all the way down the line, and to not have any consequences from having built something from the ground up. So go easy on yourself.
And well, thank you. You're the only one in America that's going to tell me that, by the way. I've got a lot more questions, and I won't ask them, but I do want to say I think there's space for us to have discussion on the patent reform as well, in particular as it regards pharmaceuticals, because I think that could be a driving factor to bring down costs as well. So thank you all for your testimony today. Very important, very difficult. We need to work together, both ends of this spectrum, to find a good solution for the consumers in the United States and preserve the free market. Thank you. I yield back.